Today, on Guess What I Found Out, we're diving into the world of one of the ocean's strangest little tanks, the lobster. This creature basically looked at the rules of aging and said, "No thanks, I'm built different." Here's your bold claim for today, Curious George. Lobsters don't age like us. They keep growing, repairing their cells, and can stay strong and fertile for decades, maybe even a century, without the usual decline we call aging. So yes, you're out here pulling muscles, just getting off the couch, while a 90-year-old armoured sea bug is bench pressing the younger generation underwater. If that makes you feel attacked by biology, smash that like button like you're cracking a lobster shell with one hand. Most living things follow a boring little script. You are born, you grow, you peak, you age, you decline, you die. Predictable story arc. Not much rewatch value. Lobsters never got that memo. In most animals, cells can only divide a limited number of times. Over time, DNA wears down, cell machinery fails, organs tire, and the body frays like old shoelaces. But lobsters, especially American lobsters, just keep going. Their cells keep dividing, their tissues resist aging, and older lobsters are often bigger, stronger, and even more fertile than the young. A 90-year-old lobster could realistically overpower a young adult lobster. Meanwhile, humans are over here losing to stairs. If that kind of unfair biological advantage annoys you, tap follow now like you're signing a petition against immortal seafood. Let's talk about the tiny molecular scam lobsters are running. Your DNA lives in chromosomes, and at their ends are telomeres, protective tips that keep your genetic shoelaces from unraveling. Each time a cell divides, telomeres get shorter. Shorter telomeres mean more errors, more aging. That's why bodies eventually wear out. Enter telomerase, the enzyme that repairs telomeres. In most animals, telomerase is active when we're young, then dials down, so we can't divide cells forever. Lobsters said, "What if we left telomerase on?" Lobsters keep producing telomerase all their lives. Their telomeres are repaired, keeping DNA healthy, and their cells keep dividing without usual damage. Lab tests show lobster tissues don't show typical aging, no matter how old they are. That's why people call them immortal lobsters. Important note, Curious George, lobsters are not literally immortal. They still die, just not from aging, but from physics or accidents. Lobsters are like little tanks with anxiety. Their hard exoskeleton protects them, but it doesn't actually grow with them. So, what do lobsters do to grow? They go through one of nature's most uncomfortable glow-ups. They actually molt. Here's how it works. First, the lobster forms a new shell beneath the old one. Then it absorbs water, swells, and cracks its old shell like an overfilled suitcase. Next, it crawls out, soft and squishy, basically a protein-filled stress ball. Finally, the new shell hardens and the lobster is ready for action. Molting costs lobsters a massive amount of energy, always. Molting is the only time female lobsters can mate. After shedding, they find a male's den, mate, and store his sperm for weeks while their new shell hardens. Months later, they release up to 100,000 eggs. Most lobster eggs don't survive. Predators, strong currents, and sheer bad luck. So much is stacked against their survival. The few that survive become the next ageless lobster generation. You have to respect the grind, Curious George, every day. If that life cycle impressed you more than your last performance review, go ahead and like this video with the same energy you'd use to break out of your shell. So, if lobsters keep their cells in such remarkably good shape, why do they eventually die at all, you think? At some point, physics wins. There's no avoiding it. Lobsters keep growing their whole lives. A 50-year-old lobster can reach over 70 centimeters and weigh more than 20 pounds. That's like a baby growing into a 300-meter-tall, 3,000-ton giant. Even bigger than a jet, and definitely too big for a studio apartment. The bigger the lobster, the harder it is to molt. Their shells get thicker and heavier, energy costs skyrocket, and the whole process becomes even riskier. Molting is dangerous for lobsters. Many do not survive the process. Some get stuck in their old shell or become too weak to recover. They're left exposed to disease, parasites and predators. Autopsies of giant lobsters reveal significant wear and damage not seen in younger ones. The cells still function, but the shell, joints and muscles eventually fail, leading to their death. Lobsters don't die from aging cells. They die because their bodies grow too large and complex for the harsh molting process needed to keep growing. It's like having a car that never ages, but the garage keeps shrinking smaller every single year. Some lobsters reach incredible sizes and ages. One of the largest ever recorded was caught off Nova Scotia in 1977, weighing 44 pounds and stretching over 3.5 feet long. Another, named George, was estimated to be 140 years old. When lobsters reach this size, they're often just one failed molt from disaster. Their claws stiffen, shells scar, and bodies become battered. They show how far this system can go, always teetering on the edge of collapse. In theory, without predators or shell problems, lobsters could keep going. But nature and physics always present the bill. Lobsters' lifespans are more modest. Males live about 31 years, females around 54. It's not their biology that limits them. It's the real world that usually doesn't let them. So, Curious George, today we learned that lobsters have, in a way, hacked a core rule of biology. Their cells don't age like ours. They repair DNA, keep telomeres long, and even grow stronger and more fertile as they age. But even biological immortality comes at a price. Lobsters don't die of old age. Instead, they die from the challenge of molting, shedding their armored shells in a harsh, unforgiving ocean. Growth itself is what ultimately ends their lives. Now, I want to hear from you. Got any wild or fun facts about lobsters, aging, or so-called immortal animals? Drop them in the comments. If this made you rethink seafood or aging, hit like, snap that claw, and follow for more deep dives into weird science. Check out my other videos. Your curiosity deserves to be overfilled.